In the last chapter, we had learnt about the laws of reflection. In this chapter, we will learn exactly how images are formed by spherical mirrors. We learn about concave mirrors, convex mirrors, a special formula called the mirror formula, and a special concept called the concept of magnification. So let's proceed and learn in detail about spherical mirrors. So let us learn about some important terms first. If you take the exact center of the reflecting surface of any spherical mirror, then that point, the center point of the reflecting surface, is called the pole of the spherical mirror. Understood? So there you can see a mirror here. The gray portion here is the reflecting surface of the mirror. The green portion is the back side of the mirror. The exact center of the reflecting portion, P, is the pole of the mirror. It is represented by the symbol P always. If you take the point which represents the center of the sphere from which the mirror has been carved, then that point is called the center of curvature of the spherical mirror. You see, if you take any spherical mirror, that spherical mirror must have been cut out, or it must have been carved from a large sphere, isn't it? After all, that is what spherical mirrors are. There are mirrors that are formed when you cut a part of a sphere. So the center of that sphere from which this mirror has been cut is called the center of curvature of the mirror. Understood? So there you go. That point here is C. So basically, if you built back the entire sphere from which this mirror has been cut, C would be the center of that sphere. That's the center of curvature. As you can see, the center of curvature of a concave mirror. This is a concave mirror because its reflecting surface curves inwards, isn't it? So the center of curvature of a concave mirror is in the direction of the reflecting surface. On the other hand, if you take a convex mirror, this is a convex mirror. The center of curvature is on the opposite side of the reflecting surface in the case of a convex mirror, isn't it? There's no doubt about it. In this case, the gray surface on the right is the reflecting surface and the center of curvature is on the opposite side. The distance between the pole and the center of curvature gives us another important term, the radius of curvature of the mirror. The radius of curvature of the mirror is basically the radius of the sphere from which the mirror was carved out. It is also equal to the distance between the pole of the mirror and the center of curvature of the mirror. Understood? So this is an important thing you must remember. The axis along which the pole lies, the center of curvature lies, the central axis of the mirror, the line that cuts the mirror into two halves, is called the principal axis of the mirror. Understood? So this line here, which joins P and C, is the principal axis of the mirror. The principal axis is perpendicular to the normal to the surface of the mirror, at the point where it intersects the mirror. Understood? You could say that the principal axis is normal to the mirror at the pole of the mirror. This angle is 90 degrees at the point where the principal axis cuts the mirror. There is another point that we will need to learn about. This point is the focus of the mirror and it is represented by the symbol capital F. But to define this point, let's conduct an experiment. Let's take a concave mirror, this concave mirror, and place it in the sun. Now, let us place a piece of paper in front of this concave mirror. Now, you will notice that when you place a paper in front of a concave mirror placed in the sun and you adjust the paper, bring the paper forward, you take it backwards, you adjust it, at a certain point, the paper starts becoming hot. And if you bring the paper at a certain position, which is at a fixed distance from the concave mirror, you will see that the paper starts burning. I know this seems to be a very interesting phenomenon, but it is true. You can even try it with a concave mirror. This point at which the paper is placed when it starts burning is called the focus of a concave mirror. Understood? So what exactly is this focus? In the case of a concave mirror, if rays parallel to the principal axis hit the concave mirror, in that case all of these rays after reflection pass through a certain point. You can see that all of these rays after reflection, they come, they get reflected, and after reflection they pass through a certain point. This point through which the rays pass after reflection is called the focus of the concave mirror. Understood? In the experiment that we just conducted, the rays from the sun were all parallel to each other. That's because when rays from infinity, or a very large distance, so sun is a large distance away from the earth, strike a concave mirror, then they generally are assumed to be parallel to each other. So when rays from the sun which are parallel to each other hit the concave mirror, after reflection they all strike this particular point called the focus. So when you place that piece of paper at the focus of the concave mirror, at exactly the distance between P and F, when you place the paper, the intensity of all of the rays of the sun combining at one point is so high that the paper catches fire. Understood? After all, there are so many rays coming from the sun, and when all of them combine after reflection at one single point, the paper catches fire. So this point where rays after reflection meet when they are parallel to the principal axis is called the focus of the concave mirror. The focus is sometimes also called the principal focus of the concave mirror. Understood? So it is a very special point. In the case of a convex mirror, what is the focus? Is the definition of the focus the same for a convex mirror? The definition is slightly different. You see, in the case of a convex mirror, when rays are parallel to the principal axis and they strike the convex mirror, all of them don't meet at a point. They all, diverge. When rays come towards each other, we say that the rays are converging. When they move away from each other, we say that the rays are diverging. So in this case, the rays diverge like this. They move away from the mirror in opposite directions. However, if you extend these rays backwards like this, then they all appear to come from a point. Understood? And this point is the focus of a convex mirror. So the focus of a convex mirror is different from the focus of a concave mirror. In a concave mirror, it is the point at which the reflected rays meet when the incident rays are all parallel to the principal axis. In the case of a convex mirror, it is the point from which the reflected waves appear to come from if the incident rays are parallel to the convex mirror. After reflection, all these rays appear to come from the focus. That's the focus of a convex mirror. There you go. This is the definition of the focus of a convex mirror. So here we go. This is the pole of a concave mirror, this is its focus, and this is its center of curvature. The focus lies between the pole and the center of curvature. Also, the distance between the focus and the pole of the concave mirror is represented by the symbol small f, and it is called the focal distance or the focal length of the mirror. Understood? In the case of both a convex and a concave mirror, the distance between the focus and the pole is called focal distance or focal length. Now, under very special circumstances, the focal length is equal to half of the radius of curvature. You see, the distance between the top part of the mirror and the bottom part of the mirror, this vertical distance is called the aperture of a mirror. Understood? Now, if the aperture of a mirror is very small compared to the radius of curvature of the mirror, that is, if A here is very small compared to PC, in that case, scientists have found out that PF, the focal length of the concave mirror or the convex mirror, will be half of the radius of curvature. Understood? So here, the distance PF and the distance FC will both be R by 2, half of the distance between P and C. Or you can say that the point F here lies exactly midway between the pole and the center of curvature. So the focus lies midway between the pole and the center of curvature. If the aperture of the mirror, the distance between the top part of the mirror and the bottom part of the mirror is very less compared to the radius of curvature of the mirror. In all our study of spherical mirrors, in this class, we will assume that the aperture is very, very small. our mirrors are so small that the aperture, the top bottom distance of the mirror, is very small compared to the radius of curvature of the mirror. And therefore we will always assume in our discussion that the focus lies at a distance halfway or midway between the pole and the center of curvature. The focal length, small f, is r by 2 for us. Understood? So this is an important point. So that was about the different terms associated with spherical mirrors. Let us now learn about image formation. To learn about image formation, we first need to know what happens to incident rays when they strike a concave mirror or a convex mirror. There are certain rules which rays follow when they strike a concave mirror or a convex mirror. Let us study those rules first. It has been found that a ray parallel to the principal axis after reflection will pass through the focus in case of a concave mirror or appear to pass through the focus in the case of a convex mirror. Now we have already learnt about this, isn't it? We have already learnt that whenever rays parallel to the principal axis strike a concave mirror, they get reflected in such a way that they pass through the focus of the mirror. In fact, this was the definition of the focus, isn't it? The point through which reflected rays pass, if the incident rays are parallel to the principal axis. So this is the rule that we have already studied. In the case of convex mirrors, as we had already studied, an incident ray is parallel to the principal axis, then after reflection it will get reflected in such a way that it will appear to come from the focus, isn't it? So these are the rules that we have already studied, and now we are repeating those rules. So you must remember all this. The second rule, however, is a rule that we have not studied earlier. It says that a ray passing through the focus of a concave mirror or directed towards the focus of a convex mirror becomes parallel to the principal axis after reflection. What does this mean?